Better late than never. It's race 3 of the weekend here at Brands Hatch in the GB3 Championship. That means it's a reverse grid race. Thank you very much for your patience today. It's slightly later than earlier advertised. We are looking forward to hopefully some big overtakes in this race. Jack Sherwood will lead us off from pole position with Enzo Tarnavishkal in second on the front row of the grid, with Will McIntyre and Abby Pulling on the second row of the grid. It'll be fascinating to see if Abby Pulling can maybe get her first ever GB3 podium. It seems like a great position for her. We're here ready for I think we're probably the last race of the day maybe. The sun is kind of setting somewhere. There's a little bit of rain in the air as well. I'm Jon Jackson, Piers Pryor alongside me. Reverse grid races, we've seen it in the past. Chaos can ensue.
It always provides good racing. We hope there's no chaos. But of course, a lot of drivers are looking to get their first opportunity to a podium this weekend. They'll be looking to make those moves on the first lap or so if they can, because that's the best opportunity. Hard to overtake when everyone gets in a single file train around here. I'm looking forward to a good race.
Of course, with drivers like Alex Ninovic, who we've seen dominate this weekend, Freddie Slater and Deegan Fairclough further back, that means they've got better pace than the drivers in front of them, which should encourage overtaking, and obviously they get points for overtakes as well. So there's a lot to play for. We will talk more about this race in a second. We'll just remind ourselves though of the second race of the weekend, which was only a couple of hours ago.
Highlights from round 17 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. Ninovic starting from pole position alongside Freddie Slater once again, and the championship leader was trying to keep calm and collected. It was a perfect start to the race though for him, as he was able to clear off from Freddie Slater down into the first corner. Deegan Fairclough also keeping up for third position, looking down the inside of Freddie Slater, who was unable to do anything about it. Plenty of side-by-side behind though on the race up towards Druid. It was Abby Pulling going on the attack of Kai Darianani, the highest place battle. It opened up the door for Kanato Lee to sneak their way through, and once again Abby Pulling was going back on the attack, straight down the inside of Kanato Lee once more, but the battling behind between Keanu Alazari would see Alazari sent round by Tarnavishkal into the polystyrene board, and that would cause a retirement of the race for Alazari and a safety car as well. Late on in the race it was Rodrigo Gonzalez who was off and into the barrier, which unfortunately would call an end to his race. For Ninovic though, it was a dominant performance at the front for the 6th time this season. He would come across the line as a victor once again to extend his championship lead, as he'd come across the line ahead of Freddie Slater and Deegan.
Yeah, another dominant performance from Alex Ninovic in the Roding Motorsport car. Fascinating to see how amazing he's kind of really taken a step this weekend, and he leads the championship on 358 points. That, by my calculations, gives him a 68-point lead over Patrick Hoytzenroeder, driving with Excel Motorsport, with Jean-Marco Pradel, who we're going to hear from very, very soon, on 276. Deegan Fairclough, 2 podiums this weekend already. Can he get another one? He's certainly got the pace to make up some positions. He's on 251 in 4th place, with Will McIntyre on 240 in 5th in the championship. He will start on the second row of the grid for this upcoming race. Then we have Keanu Alazari in 6th, Noah Lyle 7th, Reza Siwuthan in 8th, with Freddie Slater, who's only competing in his 3rd race weekend of the championship year, in 9th, and Kai Darianani, who we're also going to hear from, I believe. Or did we hear from him earlier? I can't remember if you heard from him earlier.
No, we're going to.
We're going to hear from him earlier. Right, good. Piers spoke to him earlier. We'll hear from him later. That makes sense. It's been a long weekend. Kai Darianani, 10th in the championship going into this weekend. We've had drivers that have returned. We've talked about Freddie Slater already. Kanato Lee is another driver that's come back, and always good to see him, always wearing his baseball cap.
Well, we managed to get the baseball cap off him later. Well, you'll see that in a bit. But yes, Kanato, very fast at Spa when he joined us earlier on in the year, was fast at the points when he's joined us. This weekend, maybe not had quite the pace of the other events, but again, we've mentioned it so many times. Such a challenge here around the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, but still a top 10. Well, he was 8th place in that last race, and who knows what he can do in this one. This is the reverse grid, so he's got an opportunity to maybe even get a podium.
Yeah, he really, really has. He had his cap on, he took his cap off, and he spoke to Piers earlier.
Kanato, we've just had the second race of the weekend. There was busyness at the start especially. How was it for you? P8 in the end?
Yeah, I think it was the best I could have done. P8, started P8, finished P8, so not much happening. Yeah, I lost a bit at the start, but then managed to take it back. And then from there, I think it was just stalemate for everyone, and yeah, there was no chance for me to overtake, I think. And yeah, it was just sitting behind and just finishing the race. But hopefully race 3 is different and a lot more action.
It's great to have you back in the championship. You've been with us a couple of times this year, not for a full campaign. I know you're alongside other racing commitments, but this weekend Still, pace has been good, but maybe not quite as blistering as it was at other rounds. It's a tricky track though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I think definitely the trickiest track this year that I've raced at. It definitely requires a lot of commitment, especially at the back with a lot of high speed, and obviously if you make a mistake, you're off the track. So it's quite scary in some places, but yeah, I think the car is nice. The team's fast. Obviously, Freddie's fast as well. And yeah, they're helping me quite a lot to improve. And I think I just need to find a bit more to be up there again.
Well, let's talk about that. Race 2 was a great race for the Hill Speed team. You guys, all three of you inside the top 10, clearly working well together. It must be good to have teammates that are right with you as well.
Yeah, it's really good to have really nice teammates. They work well together. So sharing data, everything. It's really nice. Just to have a chat as well. Like, it's really nice. They're all friendly and they're supportive as well. So yeah, it's good to have teammates like that.
And let's look ahead now to this third race of the weekend, the partially reverse grid. What do you think is going to go down? What's your outlook going into that final race?
Obviously, starting P5, starting close to the front. So aim is to get on the podium at the start of the race and see what I can do from there and maybe get the win.
Amazing. Kanato Lee, good result in race 2, and we look forward to seeing if you can get inside that podium positions in race 3.
Thank you.
Kanato Lee returning this weekend with Hill Speed. He will start on the third row of the grid in 5th place, so huge possibility of a podium for him. Will McIntyre is a driver that we've had one podium from this year, and it was a win back in the very first round, the reverse grid race, this kind of race, but at Silverstone the first time we went there at the start of the season. He starts 5th. Is it 5th? No, third. There we go. I'll get these places in my head soon. But Will's been a driver that was here last year, and this year he hasn't quite done as well as he would have hoped, you would imagine.
Yeah, I don't think it's been Elite's strongest circuit. It was with High Tech last year, moved to Elite this year, and they haven't maybe got the pace they wanted to this weekend. It was still 5th in the championships, just had a strong year, been there or thereabouts. We saw him fighting in that last one, but I think he's a good chance of victory in this one. We know he can start well, he's got experience of starts, he's raced here last year. We know he doesn't hold punches, get stuck in, so watch out for him on the first lap.
If you're starting in a podium position on a reverse grid race, is your main aim to not finish lower than where you start, knowing there's faster drivers behind you?
I think most of the drivers are just thinking about winning, especially in the top 3 or 4 positions. They'll have their eyes on trying to get into the lead of the race because they see this as a good opportunity to score as many points as possible. And don't forget, you get points for position in this partially reverse grid race, but also for the positions gained as well. So it's a bit of a tongue twister I gave myself there, but you get the picture.
It could be something to do with the fact we've just had a Mr. Whippy, and also in our defence, the grid has only just come out because of investigations, and there was a short turnaround between races. Anyway, excuses. Will McIntyre starts 3rd for this race, and Piers caught up with him earlier.
Will McIntyre, that was a busy race too for yourself. Got in the wars, it went up and down. Talk to us about it from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it was busy and it wasn't busy. I got bored at some stage, but I had a really good start off the line, was then on the inside of, I think, 2 people. But once I was up the inside and down the inside of them for Druids T2, I was then in a bad position and then got overtaken by 3 people. So yeah, then the shunt happened, gained all the places I lost back up, and yeah, from then on it was just stick behind, try and make an overtake, but it's Branch GP, you can't do nothing in a single seater.
Well, you say, a lot of people say you can't overtake around here. You said to me a moment ago that you reckon you can. Race 3 coming up, partial reverse grid.
Yeah, I'll make 2 overtakes before T1, and then after that I won't. I'll just drive 2 seconds off the pace and I'll be fine. I'm joking. But no, I mean, it's such a difficult track to overtake. Every corner's high speed. I mean, you don't have long straights or anything. But yeah, I mean, it's good. It's a reason why we got the championship decider at Monza this year, because at least it's going to be a bit more interesting.
Yeah, that'll be fun for you. Have you had a chance to sample Monza yet?
I haven't, no, but obviously I've been doing a lot of sim work for it. I'm super excited. I think the races are going to be really interesting. So no, I'm really excited. But yeah, Branch GP at the minute. One more race to go. We'll see what we can do.
Well, we'll see how you do in that one. Thanks very much.
Cheers. Thank you.
Will McIntyre there for Elite Motorsports, so he'll be starting, let's get this right, 3rd on the grid. And we also have Abby Pulling starting alongside him on the 2nd row of the grid. And for Abby, it's been a decent weekend so far, 2 top 10 finishes, and she's been really sort of building on the early work she's done this season. Do you think this is, well, I mean, it probably is the best chance she's had so far this season of a podium?
No doubt. And she had a strong start in that last race. We spoke, well, I don't know when to spoil it, but she had a good start. And then if she can replicate that and get, she's starting 4th place, got a good opportunity. Pace has been good. She knows the pace is in the car. Her road-in team at Alex Ninovic dominated so far. She's been up with Jan Marco as well. They were fighting nose and tail. I think it was in race number 1 as well. So, she's got a lot of confidence and she'll do her best, of course, we know.
Of course, her teammate Jean-Marc Pradel also maybe not having the weekend he would have hoped for. He starts 8th for this race. Teammates at Rodin, we headed over to Rodin a little bit earlier on, and as there always is with anything to do with F1 Academy, so Bianca Bustamante at Elite and Abby Pulling at Rodin, there's always a crowd of people around. It's amazing what being on international TV will do, and a lot of fans here, which is always great to see. And we managed to pause Abby signing and taking selfies with people to catch up with her and her teammate Jean-Marc.
Abby, another top 10 result in race 2. I know you're happy with that, but talk to us about it.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted more in race 2. I got a really great launch, got up the side of Kai into turn 1, nearly into P7, but yeah, it wasn't meant to be, and then got balked in turn 2. So ended up starting where I finished, which isn't always the end of the world. Some decent points, but yeah, looking for more in the next one.
Yeah, I mentioned just a moment ago, just off camera, that I was like, oh, did you feel the contact you had at turn 1? You went, what contact? It gets pretty tight here, especially at Druids.
Yeah, I mean, I had to thread the needle between Kanato and Kai, and it was pretty close, but it was good fun, and yeah, really, really fun to get my elbows out. Yeah, again, same again in the next one, trying to move forwards. I struggled a bit with the tyres in that one, to be honest. It was really hard to manage. I think for the majority of the grid it was hard to manage. So yeah, it's going to be, I think, kind of just pick a name from the hat and see what happens.
When you say you're struggling to manage the tyres, at the heat, just the wear at this point of the weekend, because a lot of people haven't driven a GB3 car around Brands Grand Prix. What are you managing? Yeah,
this track's really demanding on the rear left, so I'd say it's the heat. You're going through Hawthorns and then turn 6, 7, and it's just a lot of you're asking a lot of the rear left, so by the time you get to turn 7 it just doesn't want to give you any more, and then you've got a little bit of time to cool it down before you get to the last corner. So yeah, it's a bit managing. We're all struggling, I think, with a bit of understeer in turn 2 as well. Like, we're all just full lock, hoping it just bites in the end, but yeah, I mean, that's part of it, the time management.
One more race to go. Past your reverse grid, you're going to get a little bump up, a nice start somewhere near the front. What can you do?
Who knows, we've got to wait and see, but yeah, it's starting at the front is really nice. I've been waiting to start at that position again. Shame it's the reverse grid. Hopefully we can get a bit better in qualifying it in the next one, but yeah, it's always nice to be starting near the front so we can see what we can do. Yeah, I think I've got some decent pace, so the road-in car this weekend has been really fast, so who knows. Just going to keep my head down, look forward and try and make some moves.
That you will do. Good luck in race 3.
Thank you.
Gianmarco, another P5, right behind your second place in the championship rival. Good race for yourself, or where do you rate that?
I mean, to be honest, if we look at it as bigger picture, this weekend was always going to be a challenging weekend, having such limited track time, especially on the GP layout. So I think the results that we've gotten so far have been good, but yeah, for the championship hunts, they could be a little bit better. But yeah, that race was definitely frustrating. Just can't find a way by around here unless the person ahead makes a mistake. So yeah, it's challenging, a little bit frustrating in race 2, but overall pretty happy. Bringing some points home, that's the most important thing in this battle. And
you were pushing Pat all the way there. You were trying to make him make a mistake, didn't quite push it through, but it must feel pretty good. Pat's racing this championship at this circuit a number of times before. You're fairly new here. It must give you a good level of confidence to know that if you come back, or as the weekends go on and the season goes on, you can continue to push on.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, we've got one race to go. That's going to be interesting, especially lap 1. It might be a little bit of carnage. So, yeah.
We hope not.
Sorry?
We hope not.
Yeah, we hope not. But it could be, because we're going to have so many people just wanting to make a big move on lap 1. It's going to be good for points if we can make it to the finish line, if nothing happens to us. So, yeah, it's just going to be race 3, bring as many points home as possible, and just try to wrap up the weekend in the best way possible.
Gianmarco, we'll see how you get on in that final race at the weekend.
Thanks very much. I'll see you there.
The GB3 Championship returns to West Kingsdown in Kent to the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, the scene of the season finale last year. Great overtaking opportunities with that run through Paddock Hill up towards Druids, of course back down the hill into Graham Hill Bend. The run along the backstretch past the back end of the pit lane goes into the first DRS detection and then activation point as we go down Pilgrim's Drop and then rising up Hawthorns Hill through Hawthorns Bend. Westfield Bend, the right hander, then takes us back down through Dingledale before we rise up through Sheens, and then of course the penultimate corner at Stirling's and that run down to the second DRS detection point, which takes us through Clark Curve and then back out onto the start-finish straight. A very tricky circuit, a very narrow circuit, but one that you can rise up the order if you are brave enough. But of course, qualifying and track position is absolutely key to a good weekend around here. Very narrow and very bumpy, 30 metres of elevation around the 11 turns of the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, about 2.5 miles in totality, and very tricky to get right.
Let's ride on board the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit with JHR Development's Kai Darianani. Paddock Hill Bend coming up first, massive undulation change downhill through the exit. The car bottoms out until we head up towards Druids, braking in a straight line diagonally to the apex, hug the curb on the right hand side and then full power out to the curb on the left. Immediately to the right hand side to open up the downhill entry off camber apex of Graham Hill Bend. FIA track limits here this weekend, so 2 wheels over the curb is fine as long as 1 wheel is on the circuit. Surtees, a late apex, uphill at the exit, the curb comes up quickly, you can't run that otherwise the car will get pulled off the circuit. Now, the only straight part of this circuit, down Pilgrim's Drop up towards the massively fast Hawthorns corner, just a lift and a downshift for Kai on this lap, flat out through the apex, curbs comes up quickly on the left. Westfield next, technical corner, blind on entry, bumpy through the middle and exit, do not use the curb on the left hand side, it's a one-way ticket to the barrier. Next up Sheen, blind entry, committed to the middle, a bit of a wobble of oversteer, immediately to the right hand side to open up Stirling's, banked on the entry, track flattens out on the exit, do not use too much of that curb on the exit once again. One more corner to go, Clark Curve and Clearways. Blind on entry once again, you have to be at full power before you can see the exit, trusting the grip of this GB3 car, and that's a lap in under 1 minute 20 seconds of the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit.
And that's what it looks like from the driver's perspective, and this is basically my POV right now, looking at Gianmarco Pradel's car as he prepares to go off in this race from 8th on the grid. Good to hear from him and Abby Pulling. Just on that, Piers, you were talking to Abby and she mentioned tyres. Obviously it's getting a bit cooler now. What are the considerations for drivers and teams with the tyres?
It's quite a lot cooler than it's been at any point really this weekend. The sun's gone in, has done for the last few minutes, and it's getting a little bit chilly out here with the sort of help that left rear tyre that Abby Pulling was telling us about that goes away in that middle sector with the triple right hander Hawthorns, Westfield and Sheen really goes away. So that'll help the drivers that maybe have used their best tyres already. Some of the drivers may have saved their best tyres until this race, and it'll matter less because they'll have a newer or more life in them available for this race.
We're just looking at Deegan Fairclough, a couple of podiums for him this weekend after a long barren spell where he had good pace and results just didn't come his way, and he'll be hoping to complete the trio with 3 podiums this weekend if he possibly can with the High-Tech TGR team, supported by Rocket of course. And I mean, he's going to have Freddie Slater right behind him as well. They've been racing pretty much all weekend, very close racing, and Freddie Slater in the red and black number 27 car with hill speed will be starting just behind, and that's going to be a challenge to keep him behind. Piers, we haven't actually spoken much about the pole sitter, Jack Sherwood, who's obviously been around the GB4, GB3 family for quite a long time now, and I mean, this is a great opportunity for him for a race win in GB3.
No doubt it's a great opportunity for his best result in the championship, whether he gets the win or not. Best result in GB3 so far, 5th place in the reverse grid at Silverstone last time out. He could, well, if he gets a good start, he's putting himself in a very good position to take a victory, and it would be a good turnaround for him. He struggled in terms of pace. I mean, he got himself into the top 12 in qualifying, but that first race of the weekend unfortunately ended off in the gravel. Second race, still not exactly where he wanted to be, but pole position in this one. XL clearly doing a decent job with their first time here in the GB3 Championship. Pat's been there or thereabouts, and now maybe Jack Sherwood can have an opportunity to take some of the limelight.
Yeah, of course, and we know that Jack can race, and he can certainly sends it, doesn't he, when he wants to. So he's got the aggression there. He just needs to make sure he keeps his head, I think, and doesn't do anything too silly if he's under pressure from Enzo Tarvanishko, who's just starting behind him in the Red Bull branded car. great to see him back on the grid. He's been back for the last couple of rounds, and to be part of the Red Bull family tells you, if you know nothing about him, that he's obviously got some kind of pedigree.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to have him in the championship. Thai driver, quite a character, quite confident behind the scenes, and clearly got the confidence on circuit as well. Been, back right in the fight this weekend. We saw, unfortunately, he was involved in that incident in race 2, which dropped him down a little bit. We saw Keanu Al-Azari not finish the race, but he's going to be going again in this one to try and, at the very least, take a podium. But he's got the best opportunity to take over our pole sitter, being alongside on the outside of row 1 if he can get a good start. We've seen Slater kept it around the outside earlier on in race number 1. Can Tarvinichkal do it? Who knows? But it's going to be entertaining, that's for sure.
And just from your perspective as a driver, Piers, from the start, when you're sat on that grid, how are you getting the car away? What's the situation with the clutch?
Do you know what? It's tricky. I don't know whether I actually decided what the best thing was, but normally the way it works is that start-finish lines are flat, so the car sits still if you don't put your foot on the brake. So you have one foot on the clutch, and then you build the revs up with your right foot, and then you drop the clutch and then balance the wheel spin with your right foot, or some variation of that thereof. Here, different story. You're either downhill or uphill at the start, so you have to hold the car on the brake. There's no handbrake in these cars, and therefore most drivers either try and build the revs up with their heel while they then have to release the brake and accelerate at the same time. Other drivers just hold it on the brake, hold the clutch down, and then when the lights change, just swap their feet over. But that is a whole other thing that these drivers have to get used to. That's really quite a unique challenge here of Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit.
Unique was the word I was thinking. It's kind of like if you've accidentally braked in a road car with your left foot and it just feels completely alien, because you don't normally do it. So they're going to have to think about that. Where do you see the challenge for the front row coming from? I mean, Will McIntyre, you've got to look at him from third place.
Will McIntyre in the dark black and yellow highlighted Elite Motorsports car. We know he gets stuck in. Experienced driver in the championship. He's been quick round here in the past. Got involved in all the action in the previous races. He's going to be racy on the first lap. I definitely think he's going to be one to watch from the inside of row 2.
Excellent stuff. Well, we can have a look. I think the cars are about to start moving, so we'll perhaps move it backwards here, because these are the first cars that are going to come out, and I'm going to make sure we stay out of the way. And we can see Jack Sherwood just having some last minute handshakes there with his race engineer, just making sure he's in the zone. A lot of people watching back there, Andy. Oh yeah. A lot of people around Abby Pulling, making sure she's in the zone. We heard from Alice Powell earlier on, her driver coach, and I know her personal trainer's here. If you watch Abby Pulling's social media, you know how much effort she's putting in the gym. She's in the gym pretty much every day, working on very specific things with her trainer to be able to drive these cars, because of the step up from the F4 car they use in F1 Academy to GB3. What hurts after you drive a GB3 car for the first time?
Most things hurt, but more specifically, your neck. You're strapped in at the shoulders, so the only thing holding your head up, which is important for your vision, is your neck muscles, your shoulders, your arms, your legs even a little bit. It's pretty much a whole body workout, and you can genuinely feel beaten up around a circuit like Brands Grand Prix.
Yeah, so when next time you see Abby Pulling on her social media doing all these crazy workouts, they're absolutely necessary. You must do those, and I'm sure all the drivers, whether they document it or not, are seriously keeping themselves fit. You look at sort of F1 drivers at the pinnacle of motorsport and how much training they do. Don't for a minute think that these drivers aren't also doing that kind of strength training as well, because you really need to make sure your neck is in good order. And I think if I ever drove one of these cars, I'd be in a world of pain, as Piers said. Right, well, the cars are just going out behind us now, so I think for the final time this weekend, it's the GB3 Championship. It's Brands Hatch, slightly later than advertised, but we know that the reverse grid race is always very, very entertaining. So for one final time this weekend at Brands Hatch, let's go racing.
So ready to go racing for one final time at West Kingstown in Kent at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit this weekend. It has been a long wait to get to this point this weekend, but alas, we are here and are ready to go. The partial reverse grid race, they are all in position. who is going to be coming out on top. A reminder of the circuit then, that run through Paddock Hill, through Druids at turn 2 before we drop down the hill at Graham Hill, and then of course back out through Surtees and onto the Grand Prix loop. Hawthorns Bend, Westfield, drop down at Dingledale, the rise up at Sheens, that fast left-hander at Stellings has caught out a couple of drivers in the previous 2 races, that takes them down into the Clark curve and back out onto the start-finish straight where there's the second of 2 DRS zones. One of the main talking points of the circuit is always elevation, 30 metres of it up and down all around the circuit, and such a significant drop as they go through Paddock Hill. It is a tricky circuit, it is one where it's hard to make progress, but it is still possible to do so. The likelihood of a trio, 3 podiums, a trio of podiums from a given round, it's unlikely that either Deegan Fairclough or obviously Alex Ninovich or Freddie Slater can do it. We'll have to wait and see. Let's remind ourselves of the grid though. Jack Sherwood will be starting from pole position alongside Enzo Tamvanichkul, of course, in that second position alongside on the front row of the grid. Will McIntyre has won a reverse grid race this season back in Silverstone. He'll be starting from 3rd alongside Abby Pulling in 4th, her best chance of getting on the podium and maybe even sneaking a race victory. Kanato Lee, the only driver this season who's had a podium in all 3 races. That was back in Spa, will be starting from 5th position. Kai Darianani will be starting alongside in 6th. And then it's Hiyu Yamakoshi starting from 7th spot alongside Gianmarco Pradel, who'll be starting from 8th position for the Rodin Motorsports team. Just a little bit ahead, of course, of his championship rivals and his teammates as well. Patrick Huizenrode will be starting alongside Deegan Fairclough once again back on row number 5. Of course, Fairclough on the podium, 3rd and 3rd. Freddie Slater has been 2nd and 2nd. Alex Ninovich has been 1st and 1st. Of course, is the dominant championship leader, 67 points clear at the top of the table. He's starting ahead of Noah Lyle and Reza Seaworthen, of course, from the 14th position in the back of the 7th row of the grid. Behind that, it's Keanu Alazari, fresh from retirement in the previous race, but the car is running. He'll be starting alongside Lucas Flucher in the Argenti with Prema Cup. Behind that in 17th position, it's Flynn Jack starting alongside the first of the Gonzalez's. It's Rodrigo Gonzalez, of course, the VRD Racing team. On the road just behind that will be Nikita Johnson, starting alongside Patricio Gonzalez in the number 35 VRD Racing car. And then it is Bianca Bustamante on the rear of the grid. As we've said, chance of one of those drivers that has had podiums in the previous 2 races being Deegan Fairclough, of course being Freddie Slater and Alex Ninovich. It is unlikely that they will be able to take a 3rd podium here. Potentially, arguably impossible. But the main thing for Alex Ninovich that will be going through his head is I just need to score some decent points. The things going through the heads of his championship rivals, the likes of Patrick Huizenrode, the likes of Deegan Fairclough, of Gianmarco Pradel, is I need to score big here. I need to be cutting through. Freddie Slater, he's not involved in the championship. He's just here for a bit of fun, bit of experience and some race victories. He's already said in the interviews post-race after race 2 that he is going to be going all out. We'll have to wait and see how that one's going to unfold. Of course, it'll be Lewis McGlade, Piers Pryor in the comedy booth. They're getting themselves in position. I did mention the stat earlier, Piers Pryor, very quickly. One driver this season has had a podium in all 3 races. Do you know who it is?
In all 3 races?
In all 3 races of a given weekend. I'll let you off because you weren't on that weekend. Go on.
Gianmarco Pradel?
No. Kanato Lee.
Ah, of course.
Spa. And one of those races victorious. We have 9 different winners this season. The front row, neither of those have been victorious. Jack Sherwood, though, has won. That was in GB4 around this circuit here. We'll have to wait and see if he can maybe do the same thing again. We'll get ready to go racing. 25 minutes onto the board. 18 laps ahead of us as we begin racing once more here. Great start from Enzo Tamvanichkul. Great start in the background as well from Deegan Fairclough. Tamvanichkul going around the outside of the race lead. Bit of contact as well. I think that was Yamakoshi. Might have been Kanato Lee in the middle. It was certainly one of the hill speeds getting squeezed in just a touch. It was Kanato Lee that maybe had a bit of contact there. Deegan Fairclough is up to 5th, by the way. He's had an unbelievable start. There's a couple of cars going off the road here.
Somehow we're still going with very little contact. It's up the inside. That's Reza Seaworthen going up the inside of Graham Hill Bend. We were briefly 4 wide going towards Paddock Hill, but we all made it through safely.
So it's time for Nitchkull that's leading the way. Sherwood is feeling the pressure from the blue highlighted Elite Motorsports car there of Will McIntyre. Already going on the attack, I believe, for 4th position. Deegan Fairclough is trying to make a move as they go up to the top of Hawthorns Hill. There is a look at your championship leader in the middle of all of this. Somewhere I would not want to be with a 67-point lead is in the middle of all of this on the opening lap, as he's got Lucas Flusha going down the inside in the Argenti with Prema.
He's going to look for the cutback though, as Flusha's going to be hampered on the exit, but can't get underneath, so that's a place lost for our championship leader. Will he be able to get that place back with the pace he's shown this weekend?
Superb opening lap when it comes to race ability. It proves obviously everyone trying to make some progress in the opening stages before everything goes back into single file. It becomes harder to pass. Keanu Alazari, a bit of a look in the bright pink BWT liveried car. 1 lap complete. Time for Nitchkull leads the Red Bull Junior across the line in 1st position. Then it's Jack Sherwood behind Will McIntyre, Kai Darianani. Then it is, of course, Deegan Fairclough up to 5th position. 5 positions gained in 1 lap. Maybe he could get 3 podiums from 3 races.
He had an absolutely monstrous launch from the outside of row number, was it row number 4? No, yeah,
5.
Row number 5. He went around the outside of the whole row ahead as everyone went to the inside to cover off, and then managed to gain positions down towards Druids as well. Although the race start is under investigation. I wonder if that was for that start of Deegan Fairclough, because it looked very good. I'm not saying didn't see anything untoward with the naked eye straight away, but we'll keep an eye on the time screen. It's actually a small error from Ninovic through Surtees. He's going to leave him under pressure from the driver behind, which is going to be Nikita Johnson.
Ninovic has also lost 3 places on this race start. He is in the final points-paying positions. The reverse grid races yield points for the top 15 drivers. It's normally 20. It's just the top 15 for race 3. However, you do gain points for every position you gain versus where you start. Now, Ninovic here has dropped back 3 positions, so he needs to gain 3 positions before he can then start adding back on any of those extra bonus points. Doesn't seem as though that's maybe likely in this one.
Yeah, it doesn't. You don't lose points for dropping positions. Correct. Though, so he's going to finish. He's getting the points for where he finishes. As we cut back to Freddie Slater, the driver that finished 2nd in both race 1 and race number 2. DRS will be enabled this time by, as we see the DRS pop open, as up the inside goes Gianmarco Pradella at the turn number 1 on the inside of his championship rival for 2nd place, and that's going to leave him vulnerable, as now to the outside goes the Hill Speed. That is the 19 of
Kanato Lee.
Kanato Lee, who we spoke to ahead of the race. He was looking forward to a good one in race number 3. He's a couple of solid results this weekend so far, looking to gain positions here. There's still pace for Deegan Fairclough. He's come out of the gate swinging in this final race of the weekend.
Yeah, certainly so. Of course, he'll know whether he's jumped the start or not. We don't know why the start is under investigation, but if it is because of a jump start, whichever driver's done it probably is well aware of that right now. But there's always that thing of, like, if you have jumped the start, you just commit, you just go for it. You're going to get a penalty anyway, and Race Control will be keeping an eye on that. We'll update you from Race Control as to when that is the case. Of course, the only note from Race Control right now is that DRS is enabled. There are some potential moves incoming. Fairclough right over the rear end for 4th position, trying to keep an eye on. Let's see the start and look back. He didn't look like he started, he jumped.
Maybe. Also, this start might be under investigation. Who knows? There may have been someone out of position, which is harder to know. That was the 4 wide. Who was that on the inside? I think that was actually Pat Hoytson-Roeder that was on the inside of the 4 wide. Made it work, and another look up the inside of turn 1. You'd have to be brave to send it in from that far back. It's barely even a break at Paddock Hill in these cars. So much grip.
Keanu Alazari off the road, rejoined straight behind Freddie Slater, is able to keep Lucas Flusha at bay. That was pretty wild in the battle for 11th position. He has lost a spot to Slater, so he drops back behind, so Slater gains position. Will McIntyre sets the fast lap of the race. I will say, just very quickly talking about Deegan Fairclough, I've commentated a lot on Deegan over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, where it's been in esports or when he won the Rocket Racing Star Formula 4 Esports competition UK. I got it right, it's fine. Which obviously started him on this journey through open wheelers. It's brought him here to GB3, and I've seen some bold attempts of overtakes. Some of them good, some of them not so much. He is always learning, always adapting, and he is not shy.
No, not shy at all. Other drivers that have made positions on this first lap. Kai Darianani jumped a couple up from 6th to 4th place. He's had a good run this weekend so far. Solid results. We've not seen much of him on the TV because he's been minding his own business, but right behind this battle here, this is the battle for 2nd place. McIntyre that we're looking at there in the black with blue highlights for Elite Motorsport, charging down on Jack Sherwood, who was our pole sitter. He'll be disappointed to have lost that lead on lap number 1. We go towards turn number 1. Will McIntyre have a look? He does. Gets a slight overlap, but then backs out.
Time penalty has just been dished out. It is for Bianca Bustamante for a false start, so she's been given a 10-second time penalty. Is running in 21st position. Unlikely there'll be anything more picked up in this race, unfortunately, for Bustamante. Look at this though, Will McIntyre right over the rear end of Jack Sherwood. Two drivers which will go elbows out in an attempt to get the second position. There comes a look to the inside from Will McIntyre, but around the outside comfortably to hold on is Jack Sherwood in the 78.
Yeah, Sherwood was wise to that one. That was exactly the move that Sherwood pulled on Flusha in the previous race and made it work after losing the position down towards Graham Hill. That's confirmation of the penalty for Bustamante, who's already at the back of the field, so it won't change the results a huge amount. But let's keep an eye on this battle. This is the battle for second place, reminder. Jack Sherwood unfortunately losing the lead on that first lap. Tarva Nitschkel just got away so well, and now McIntyre, the one-time reverse grid race winner this year so far, trying to gain another position. That will be another point, or a gain in points in positions, and also another bonus point, as well as now also Fairclough, strong through Sterling, is going to be in a position maybe to have a look into the last corner.
Nah, I don't think he's going to go for it. He's certainly going to look. He's going to fill the mirrors, try and get him offline the run on the start finish straight. Tarva Nitschkel then completes 5 laps in this race. We've got 13 left to go. It's Tarva Nitschkel from Sherwood. Sherwood leading from McIntyre. Then the drop back to Darianani and Fairclough involved in that fight for 4th position. Still no switches between them. Fairclough remains behind. Abby Pulling also in tow as well with Yamakoshi, Huizenroda, Brado. Here comes a look to the inside though as Flusha tries to make the move on Keanu Alazari for 13th position.
This is the thing though, if you attempt to move and then you don't pull it off, you actually lose time, and then you're going to be the one that's under pressure into the next braking zone, the next overtaking opportunity. And you can see now Flusha had a look at Alazari into Druids, and now Flusha's the one under pressure from our championship leader and race 1 and 2 winner of Ninovic. But Ninovic again just turning in a little bit too early into Surtees, hitting that curb, causing him to lose the run on that long run down towards Hawthorns. So we got a battle between the two hill speed cars of Yamakoshi and Lee as they come out of Hawthorns. We're looking back still at this battle. It's Seaworthy that's actually the cork in the bottle of this little group.
But imagine what it's like for Ninovic right now in this race. You're the championship leader, you've got a comfortable championship lead, don't really need to score so many big points at the moment. Also, you've done 35 laps of racing around Brands Hatch this weekend, plus whatever they've done in qualifying, and realistically at no point has he had a car even remotely as close to as ahead of him as what he has now with Flusha. He's had clean air ahead of him the entire weekend thus far, and he's now struggling out because dirty air is difficult, and he's had no experience of it.
And this is conjecture from my part. You know, I'm not certain of this. I haven't spoken to the team or actually looked, but often when you're out in the front and you've got pace, there's no need to change the car. I reckon the team would have changed the car very little from qualifying to race 1 and race 1 to race 2, right, because why change something that's that dominant? But they may have made a slight aerodynamic adjustment in this race, given they know he's going to have a slightly different, or there's going to be dirty air in front of him. So maybe that's just throwing him off a little bit. Slightly different aerodynamic balance, Carl handle slightly different, plus that dirty air ahead. We cut back to this battle for second place.
Yeah, Will McIntyre, DRS Open, closing up to the rear end of Sherwood. The straight line speed in the XL Motorsport car directly ahead seems absolutely fine. Jack Sherwood is doing everything that he can. Fastest lap of the race is still in the hands of Tarva Nitschkel, of course, our race leader, but now by nearly 3 seconds. The Red Bull Junior is starting to pull away very comfortably from these two. He's setting sail and looks to be building up his first podium in GB3, and not only that, will become the 10th winner of this season.
Yeah, this would be good racing from Tarva Nitschkel, but we're not even seeing much of him because it's such a close battle for second place. But similar to what we've seen in race 1 and race 2, we've got little pockets of battling. We've got Tarva Nitschkel away at the front of the field, then a pocket, one between second and third, and then pretty much actually everyone else almost line and stern, everyone else within DRS. Bit of a DRS train going on, and Tarva Nitschkel setting some pretty blistering time, 1:19.5, not quite the same pace we've seen from Ninovic, but good pace nonetheless.
So have a little bit of battling there, a little bit of side-by-side going down to Graham Hill Bend. There is Ninovic. He's got Nikita Johnson directly behind. So Johnson's had a fair start to the race. Will McIntyre has been slightly off the road then as they work back out onto the Grand Prix loop, dipping 2 wheels, once again proving how hard he's been pushing. So that instant weave, that's to clean the tyre, right?
Yeah, that's just to try and get a little bit of the debris that's on the surface of the tyre off as he turns into this middle sector. But it will be telling now if he can close into the back of Sherwood quite quickly. That will show how much more pace he has in that XL motor. Sorry, in the Elite Motorsports car. XL car, of course, is Jack Sherwood in second place. The gap between the two hill speed in the middle of the pack has just extended a little bit, as that is Yamakoshi falling off the back a little bit. Sorry, that's Lee falling off the back of Slater just a little bit.
Yeah, indeed.
Actually, Slater's got past Lee.
Yes, that must have been a lap or so ago that Freddie Slater's back inside the top 10.
Yeah, didn't see that. That was away from our camera shot there. But Slater making moves at this mid-stage of the race, and he's now chasing down his other teammate, the 27 there. Slater making moves. He's now going to try and close the gap on Pradell. No, Slater's ahead of Lee. Sorry, I'm getting confused there. It's now on the back, of course, as we see on the back of the 21 of Pradell. He's going to be trying to use that pace he had earlier in the weekend, but this is the problem. Once you get up behind the car, dirty air is difficult, and with the DRS as well that Pradell will have on Hoytson In fact, Hoytson and Pradell have been pretty much inseparable all weekend. This will be a very similar race for Pradell, looking at the back of the XL Motorsports car. He'll be able to tell us the serial number of that rear rain light by the end of this weekend, won't he?
Yeah, he probably, you'd hope so. It's probably quite similar to what he's got on the back of his. But no, obviously, he can read every single sponsorship on the rear end of Pat Hoysen-Roder's car, and he's staring at maybe getting through here. But in doing so, that one little look going up to Hawthorns has allowed Freddie Slater to close right in, and Slater will be aggressive. He will try and find that move. Just about finding the right opportunity. There was nothing there at Westfield Bend, nothing there at Sheen, nothing at Stirling's either. Let's take a look at a replay.
Oh, that's a big moment there for the VRD car there. That's Patricio Gonzalez for VRD, just running wide, touching the grass on the way into Graham Hill Bend. We spoke about that in race 2 with Hoytson-Roder, flirting with the edge of the circuit on the way into the corners. Well, that's what can happen if you just push the boundaries a little bit too far.
9 laps down, 9 laps left to go here as we continue racing this battle for 4th position, as Tom van Itchkel sets another fastest lap of the race as he's really starting to pull away from the groups behind. It's very close though, as Deegan Fairclough is sat right on the rear. I will say Will McIntyre is not actually close straight back up to Jack Sherwood, so I think Sherwood's pace has been all right. Or maybe Will McIntyre sat off the rear end thinking, right, if I cool the tyres down, if I look after this a little bit more, maybe I can go on the attack in the final couple of races and catch him napping whilst his tyres are going off. Oh, very close.
Go on, yeah, it's just Fairclough having another look up the inside. Not enough to have an overlap on the entry of the corner there. Looking at the back of Kai Darianani, this is the battle now that we're looking at for 4th and 5th place. But who knows, maybe Sherwood, having known that he's going to be starting on pole position, may have saved his best tyres for this race. He will maybe use the same set of tyres in race 1 and race 2, saving a set that's only been used in qualifying for race 3, and that might account for a slight tyre advantage. Again, just conjecture from myself, or maybe Sherwood's, he's been working hard this weekend with the XL team. He's got the data from Pat Hoytson-Roder. He may just also be moving forward and using that experience to gain some extra pace, although actually visually out the commentary box window, that gap has slightly closed on the previous lap.
Yeah, very much so. It's about 6 tenths come down.
Yeah. Good few tenths on that last lap.
Gianmarco Pradell sets the fastest lap of the race. I did see a purple middle sector coming in from Freddie Slater, so I did think Pradell's probably got to be putting in some solid pace here. But it is Gianmarco Pradell right in the rear end of Pat Hoysen-Roder as the entire group starts to turn it up a little bit and go that little bit faster. I mean, the overtake becomes that little bit more difficult. You're spending less time going around the second. You're obviously getting those drives off the corner that little bit better. This driver here, Enzo Tom van Itchkel, is just driving brilliantly in this race.
Yeah, driving so well, and we actually saw him. Oh, McIntyre's off. Will McIntyre's off in a big way on the way entry to Hawthorns there. That's a fast part of the circuit, completely on his own as far as we're aware. We didn't see the start of that incident. He's in the wall. We hope that he's okay. There's a lot of tyre barriers there which can absorb the impact, but potentially touch the grass on the way in.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of drivers doing that so far this weekend. We saw Alex Ninovic getting quite close to it. You said absolutely right. Pat Hoysen-Roder was getting quite close to that grass on the turn-in point going into Hawthorns. And so that car off and into the barrier. Likely it will cause a safety car. And there we go. There's a note from race control. Yellow flag being waved. Safety car has been deployed to the circuit. So the race has been neutralised. It is Tom van Itchkel leading by, well, what was 3.6 seconds. That will now be absolutely nothing. He's got the pace to pull away from Sherwood, though, should we get a restart.
Yes, yeah, so that's eased the pressure on Sherwood a little bit, at least for now, because it was McIntyre pushing hard, actually. You could see visually he was pushing hard when he was behind Sherwood in 3rd place. He just pushed a little bit too hard in that section, which is disappointing McIntyre. He would have been happy to take another reverse grid podium. We're hearing that hopefully that he's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually there he is, getting out of the car. So physically okay, but that car, you can see the left rear. Oh, the left rear tyre is off the wheel. Don't know whether that is a causal or whether that's an effect.
Yeah, exactly, whether it's happened before the incident or after it. As he struggles to find his way out of the car, he does navigate it well. The scary part of that is how fast that corner is, but that's why you've got all those barriers up there. That's why there's quite a large graveler trap to take quite a lot of the speed off. Talk us through this replay.
Yeah, you can see, wow, the car got airborne through the gravel, but going sideways, and Jack Show would have been confused. Let's have a look at this. Oh, the gravel trap doing an excellent job there of keeping things together.
I can feel my ribs on that.
Yeah, he literally launched in the air, and then the car went sideways into the gravel, but to be honest, it really took a lot of speed off the car there. Which meant that his impact with the barrier was far less severe than even I expected it to be, given the speed at which he goes off there. But the car not in exactly an ideal situation. Entry speed into that corner, looking at least 130 miles an hour, I'd say, or well over 120, maybe even nudging 140. It's a really, really fast part of the circuit, and he lost it so early in the corner, there wouldn't have been a chance to scrub off any speed. Great to see that Will McIntyre is physically okay. That was a scary, scary incident. You can see the disappointment already setting in, though, because these athletes, they're not worried about their physical safety. They're out there to get results. They're out there to do their absolute best, and unfortunately, looks like a small mistake from McIntyre that's ended his race.
Also, probably would have been winded a little bit
no doubt
from that. And you can be the strongest athlete in the world, having dealt with some pretty big crashes in motorsport or whatever, but still, that from what I've been told, I've not been fortunate enough to crash a car. I don't know how you want to put that, but I've not been involved in an incident on a racetrack with a car. But from what I've been told by all the race drivers and stuff that I spoke to, is that the first moment when you get out of the car, that's not the problem. It is about 10 to 15 seconds once you've got out of the car that then it hits you, that you've been involved in this crash, that it's been so fast, the adrenaline washes off and it hurts.
Do you know what? It's quite a formative thing as a driver, and as a young driver, especially when you have a proper big shunt, and especially when it's your first big shunt or scary crash, because it kind of either makes or breaks you. A lot of drivers will have a big shunt and then maybe they're scared and they never quite reach the heights that they would have done before. Other drivers, they think, oh, well, that's kind of the worst that can happen.
Right.
I'll just carry on, and then they use it to kick on and realise that, okay, right, I'm really in for the long haul here. I'm going to use it as a confidence builder, won't do that again, and then they push on. I mean, you've seen drivers like Max Verstappen, even in Formula One, when he joined Formula One, had a fair few pretty hefty shunts. Didn't hold him back, did it? So,
right.
And then Will McIntyre is a very headstrong driver. We know he's confident. He's shown his pace. I don't think this will affect him too badly mentally. It would have been scary nonetheless, but he will come back bouncing and fighting at Donington Park, a circuit that he knows well.
And we've got a month until that point as well. We've got a long wait until we go to Donington Park, so that'll be absolutely fine. We will, by the way, be doing it'll be a timed race from now on. There is 6 minutes and 10 seconds left to go, and theoretically at the line there would be 5 laps left to go. That would not be enough time, even if we got back racing, to do all 5, I believe. I think it would then be 4, but of course they're still extracting that car from the circuit. Oh, we're going racing this time, boys. Lights are off on the safety car.
We love to see it. More racing action for us here in the GB3 Championship. Tyler Van Itchkel will have seen where Ninovic went, and he chooses to go in exactly the same moment. But right behind him, Jack Sherwood has another opportunity to retake that position that he's had at the start of the race and relinquished to the VRD driver. Red Bull driver to Van Itchkel rounds the final corner just about in time for the safety car as we go racing once again.
Yeah, I'll take it back. Maybe we will get the full race distance in here. Yeah, it depends how fast Van Itchkel decides to absolutely send it around this circuit. Perfect restart, though further behind we've got Gianmarco Bradell trying to go on the attack of Pat Huizenroder at the moment. He's had a slow run. Freddie Slater in the red and black Hillspeed car is then going on the attack. Wide as they go into Druids goes Keanu Alazari, as does Freddie Slater. Slater has gone very wide.
Yeah, Alazari trying to go around the outside of Seaworthen there, and Seaworthen giving him a one-way ticket to the dusty part of the road. I think it was a bit, I don't know if that was on the limit from Seaworthen. I think he opened the steering into him there, but as we now see a move there, that is the number 7 right of shot there. Fairclough trying to go past Kai Darianani up the inside. We go side by side down Pilgrim's Drop towards Hawthorns. Abby Pulling trying the inside as well.
No way, Abby Pulling. She's got to back out of it. She does. Away too wide. They've gone off the road. Deacon Fairclough, his chance of getting 3 podiums has gone up with a spin as well. He gave it a good go, but Fairclough is round. He is stationary. He had to try it, but Abby Pulling having a bit of a look last minute. forced the issue there, and I think she's come through to take over third position.
Do you know what? Actually, Abby Pudding. Oh, we've got contact as well as Gianmarco Pradell's run into the back of Patrick Hoytsenroder into Sterling. So we're almost certainly going to get some sort of interruption here now. Hoytsenroder out.
Second in the championship.
Yeah, and also that was the battle for second in the championship as well. I didn't see what caused that, but definitely front to rear contact with with Pradell into the back of Hoytsenroder. But we've got the safety car called once again for both of those cars. Didn't see whether Fairclough got his car going again. It looked like he stalled it, but I actually think that was initial move up towards Hawthorns was caused, or the issue was caused by Darian Arney having a bit of a moment in the middle of the corner. Fairclough was caught unawares. They both went off the road. Pulling came through, and then once you're onto the grass, it's so bumpy on the grass, it's so hard to keep control of the car. You can see Hoytsenroder's body language. Disappointed. He knows that wasn't his fault.
Got to say, for Abby Pulling there, that was brave. I mean, talk me through this. How brave do you have to be to even look to make that 3 wide?
Darian Arney's in the middle. Pulling just has a look. Look at Darian Arney. Yeah, big snap of oversteer. I think he carried so much speed into Hawthorns just to make sure he made it to the apex ahead of Fairclough that he basically only just stayed on the road. Fairclough was committed to his line. I'd call that a racing incident myself. And then this is the moment between Hoytsenroder in the 5, the 21 of Gianmarco Pradell. We've seen them go nose to tail pretty much all weekend. Unfortunately, this time a bit too close. I don't know why Pradell's run into the back of Hoytsenroder there. It's an unusual place for that to happen. It's not a big stop. Either Hoytsenroder's had an issue or Pradell's just misjudged the entry and clattered into back there. Good to see everyone's okay. Physically, you can see Hoytsenroder, there's sweat on him. He's working hard out there and disappointed.
Might be waiting to have a little bit of a word on the way past.
Fellow Australians.
Battling for second in the championship. I tell you what though, for Ninovic, I know he's only going to be finishing this race in 12th position, but obviously when you've got second in the championship, they're having drama and potentially not even scoring points. Gianmarco Pradell's now down to 17th position. So even despite this in the race, by the way, I believe this will be the last lap of the race. I don't think we'll be able to go racing for one more. We'll update you with how much fast this lap ends up being behind the safety car, but I find it very unlikely. It's one of those ones where he's actually going to pull out an extra 3 points. It might be the full 70, 2 full race victories before heading into the season finale.
Well, do you know what? I think Ninovic has played this perfectly. He knew there's no need for any risk in this race. He's already had double 35-point scores this weekend in race 1 and race 2. All he needs to do is get some points in this final race just to, try and push up that total a little bit. And then if other things happen to his nearest rivals, then hey, he'll take it. And look what's happened. Pat Hoytsenroder, who's second in the championship, out of the race. Gianmarco Pradell now behind him with damage. Also, may still get a penalty for that. I haven't seen all the angles. We've only seen what you've seen. But I would imagine that if there's no mitigating circumstances, that's almost certainly a slam dunk causing a collision for Gianmarco Pradell. Again, haven't seen the onboards, haven't seen the extenuating circumstances. But on face value, Hoytsenroder into a corner, gets tagged by another driver. Normally that ends up with the driver behind receiving some sort of penalty.
It would be a 71-point lead for Alex Ninovic leaving Brands Hatch if it does go on. We are getting word that potentially the safety car will be in this lap. Now, I'm just going to very quickly go back to 2022, Spa. It was Callum Voisin. He was leading the race, and there was a safety car restart with a timer that was ticking down. He started the race incredibly slowly because the timer's still ticking, and if it hits 0, the checker flag still comes out. I wonder if Tom Vinichkul might do that. 35 seconds from here, if he goes slow enough, he could do it.
And remember, we have radios between the teams and the drivers this year, so the team might be on that. 20 seconds to go. I reckon Tom Vinichkul might pull a tactical one here, or he might just decide, you know what, I want one more flying lap of the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. It's going to be touch and go even if he drops the hammer right now.
Yeah, we've got 15 seconds and he's waiting. He is waiting, he is timing it. He doesn't want that last lap. Tom Vinichkul is in position to potentially win. 8 seconds left to go. This is going to be it. There is no way he's going to get to the flag before we can see a final lap. I believe it's going to be checkered. We come through the final corner. Tom Vinichkul, it's been a fantastic drive for the Red Bull Junior as he comes up towards the line. The top clock has hit 0 and he crosses the line as a winner. Tom Vinichkul, the 10th different winner of 2025. Sherwood and pulling behind in second and third. Very close battles and plenty of drag races indeed. Not sure if there was any switches on the run towards the line, but Tom Vinichkul is victorious.
Yeah, I think a few of the drivers may not have actually seen the fact that there was checkered flag. I think it was actually Abby Pulling came over the line and kept up going very quickly down through Paddock Hill Bend, but they've all slowed down now. Tarvanitschkel is the man of the day, took the lead at the start of the race, did all he needed to do. Sherwood will be happy with second place, if not slightly disappointed that that win slipped through his fingers. Abby Pulling, her first podium in the championship.
Yep.
We're going to have some happy faces on that podium.
Indeed, indeed. And hopefully some people that can speak English, unlike myself. Apologies, as Tarvanitschkel there. Our 10th different winner of the season. Will score 21 points courtesy of that because, of course, rising up from second position on the grid. A brilliant drive for Tarvanitschkel, of course. And I say, for a driver who has scored now 90 points in the championship, 21 of those has come from a single race. That shows how impressive that was for Abby Pulling. It'll be closing in on the top 10 in the championship now on 163 points. A first podium for Abby Pulling. She's had 4 consecutive top 10s since, of course, the retirement back in Silverstone, where there was that issue in race number 2. She's had top 10 ever since, and it's closing in. But for all of those in the top 5 of the championship, your Ninoviches, your Huizenrodes, your Pradels, your Faircloughs, your McIntyres, only one of those top 5 scored points in that race. And that, of course, was our championship leader, Alex Ninovich. That is the consistency that we're talking about in this championship, and that is why he's been so good and why he's got such a strong lead in the championship. He's remaining consistent. You might want to put that one in gear, Enzo. As it rolls backwards. Do anything to stop it from rolling. It was just sliding backwards there, so it's fine. He got out of it, no problem. There is, of course, the XL Motorsport Cup of Motorsport driver rather there of Jack Sherwood. Enzo Tarvanitschkel straight over to celebrate, of course. A bit of a fist bump there after a fantastic drive from Sherwood. Had to put on a great display to try and keep Will McIntyre at bay. And Abby Pulling onto the podium. This will be a popular podium. I know Abby Pulling down in the paddock earlier on, before I think it was just after she got interviewed by Jonathan Piers between race 2 and race 3, had an absolute fan club outside waiting for signatures. So it will be indeed a very popular podium. It's kind of one of those ones that might open even the floodgates. Alice Powell straight over, of course, to say a few words, I'm sure. We caught up with Alice Powell a little bit. There's the hug from Alice. Caught up a little bit from her before race 2, and you know, some of the thoughts and feelings that go through their mind. Obviously, when you're a coach, you kind of do your bit. You give the advice before the race, you kind of give the strategy and the mentality and the approach, and then it's hands off, and you've got to let the driver do the thing. And it sometimes can be a little bit difficult to see. Of course, for Enzo Tarvanitschkel and the likes, a fantastic victory that could even see a movement up the standings. Currently sits 19th in the standings, so for a driver that's only taken part in half the races this season, inside the top 20, and with a victory like that, see what happens over the next 2 rounds. We go to Donington Park and to Monza, and maybe there might even be another race victory. Classic reverse grid race. Let's head down to Jon Jackson to catch up with our top 3.
Thank you, Lewis. Enzo, congratulations. First GB3 win. How are you feeling?
Really good. Obviously, worked really hard this weekend. And yeah, I think we just did what we should have done, probably in Silverstone too, but yeah, super happy.
Talk me through the move that got you into the lead very, very early on.
Yeah, you know, just talk through with the team what we were going to do. That was the plan from the beginning, because obviously it's quite hard to overtake, so put a lot of energy and focus into that specific moment of the race, and then the rest of the race was just controlling the pace. We had really good pace, and also you know, the safety cars were a little bit in a weird timing, but it was really, really good.
Just talk me through the end there. You desperately didn't want that last lap, did you?
I mean, I did a good restart, so I wouldn't have mind to do another lap, but yeah, if we finish one lap early, I
I was happy to see the checkered flag.
If you don't need to do it, you don't need to do it. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
There we go. Enzo Tarvanishko with his first win in GB3. Jack Sherwood is just over here. Congratulations. Best result for you in GB3, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a long time coming for us, I think. I just want to say a massive thank you to Excel. You know, we've had a few tough moments this year, and for them to continue to believe in me and continue to put the amount of effort in they do means a lot to me, more than I can put into words. So, you know, I'm happy to repay them with this P2. Shame it wasn't a win. They just got us off the line, which was a bit unfortunate, but I'm sure we'll be back at the front soon and be able to get that first win.
Nice to end the weekend with a trophy in your hand as well. After the first race was a little bit hairy yesterday for you.
Yeah, it was a bit sketchy, dropping back and then coming back through the field, and then a mistake on my side dropping us back down. But no, I feel like we've progressed the past 2 weekends, and like I said, you know, the amount of support I've had from them, from Excel, has been incredible, and I wouldn't have been able to progress as much as I have the past 2 weekends without them. So yeah, really happy to get the P2.
Well, congratulations. Where are you going to put the trophy?
I think it goes back to the team, actually. I might try and steal it, but
yeah, you can borrow it. You can have it at weekends.
Exactly.
Congratulations again.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
There we go, Jack Sherwood, and we'll come and find Abby Pulling. Her first podium in GB3 means it's her best result. Abby, can I grab you? Congratulations. How are you feeling? Your first podium in GB3, your best result so far?
Yeah, I mean, a bit disappointed with the start. I flipped it a little bit after a great start in the race before, but yeah, kept putting the pressure on. Safety car restart, bunched us together again, and saw my opportunity up the inside as they were wheel to wheel, and yeah, I put the pressure on, and the boys made some mistakes, and I just crept on through. So yeah, I mean, I'll take it where I can.
Absolutely. Piers was saying on commentary, very, very brave. Did you even consider that you were about to go 3 wide at all?
Well, I did think this is my only opportunity, because overtaking around here isn't easy. I thought around Hawthorne's probably the last place you want to do it, but yeah, it worked out in the end, and yeah, I'm glad that I showed some aggression, and it yeah, paid off.
It definitely paid off. I know this season you've been a little frustrated with all kinds of things that have not given you the results you wanted, but now you've got that podium. We've got 2 more race weekends to go. What's achievable?
I mean, we've had such great pace, the Roding car as well, Roding Motorsport, they're doing a really stellar job. And yeah, I mean, just qualifying better, that's the main thing, and trying to do it in the main race. Obviously it's amazing to get the podium in this, but yeah, I'll be looking for the big races and the big points.
And look, you're not the only Roding driver without a podium now, which we weren't mentioning too much, but obviously it's nice that you've all got a trophy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a monkey off my back a little bit. It's been a really, really tough start to the season, and yeah, just trying to clear my head. This is obviously really nice going into the next one. We've got a bit of a break, so to end off on a high with podium is really nice, especially around the circuit. I mean, it's not forgiving here, as we've seen in the races. So, yeah, really delighted for me and the team.
I was going to say congratulations to you and all the team around you, because I know they put in a lot of hard work as well.
Yeah, of course, thank you.
Excellent stuff. Abby Pulling there with Roding Motorsport, getting her first podium in GB3, coming third. And that is it. So let's head over to Lewis, who's going to talk you through the podium, where Alex Ninovich, I believe, will also get his award for being the fastest driver this weekend.
Yes, indeed. Should gather himself the Sunoco fastest driver of the weekend award. Will Alex Ninovich, of course, he also was able to pick up the Omologato One to Watch award, of course, for being victorious in race 1 and race 2, the highest point scorers in the opening 2 races of a given weekend across the season. So a couple of extra prizes for Alex Ninovich to pick up, along with 12th position in the race, and again a very healthy championship lead. Patrick Hoysen-Roder's retirement late on will cause some serious frustration. Wonder what he'll have to say to Gianmarco Pradel after the race. What words will be spoken in the paddock between the two of them after such bitter disappointment at the end of that race. No points for second in the championship, for third in the championship, fourth or fifth, and with such a long wait until October for those drivers to rectify those issues, it could be very difficult indeed. But for these drivers, that's not going to be a difficult wait until October in Donington Park. It will be a positive one. Onto the podium then for the first time this season. It is Abby Pulling. She's been in the top 10 plenty of times this championship. But again, a podium for the first. 9 top 10s, now 1 podium. Jack Sherwood will also be joining on the podium for the first time in their GB3 career. But our 10th different winner of course, Enzo Tarnvanichkul is our 10th winner of 2025. Joins quite an illustrious list in those 18 races. Could we be seeing even more? I can't remember what the record was. I think it was 13 different winners back in 2022. Maybe we'll be seeing that one be challenged once more. Obviously the biggest trophy going to Enzo Tarnvanichkul. We'll see if Jack Sherwood sprints off with his trophy before his team can get their grubby hands on it. But of course a superb sight to see 3 new drivers on the podium. 3 drivers that have not been on the podium yet, that have not been in this position to stand on those so glorious steps that the memory will remain for such a while. And to be fair, again, literally sprint off the stage everyone else because it's time to get the champagne sprayed around. Enzo Tarnvanichkul straight over to Jack Sherwood and to all those fans and such that are around. I'm sure there's quite a few. It does look quite busy down there in the pit lane, which the podium does oversee. And after such a brilliant race, why not celebrate, especially when, again, you've got such a long wait. Well, let's have a little look at the highlights from the final race of this weekend. Highlights from round 18 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, as the 21 cars were getting into position for the reverse grid race. A good start still for Enzo Tarnvanichkul, who's able to get himself from second position through and around the outside of Jack Sherwood and into the race lead. Meanwhile, there was a little touch of 4 wide in the background as they go their way through Paddock Hill. The defensive line would come in from Sherwood for second position as Will McIntyre was trying to get to the outside. That wouldn't work, but it was a great start from Deegan Fairclough, who would work up from 10th position all the way to 5th. Unfortunately for Patricio Gonzalez, there was a bit of a moment going through the opening section. And then for Will McIntyre, there was a big moment going through the Grand Prix lead. He'd be out of the race. Thankfully, we'll be out of the car and all right. The safety car would come out and we'd be back racing. It wouldn't be long before the safety car would rush its way back out of the racetrack after a chaotic restart that saw Keanu Alazari going off the road, which saw this moment as Abby Pulling would try and make it 3 wide in the final fight for the final step on the podium. Darianani with a big moment. Deegan Fairclough going for a bit of a half spin as well. Abby Pulling was able to come through into 3rd position. Meanwhile, all of that battling behind made everything close up. Then there was this bit of contact. Gianmarco Bradell into the rear end of Patrick Huizenroda, into the gravel trap, causing the safety car. It would be a late restart, and as the timers were ticking down, Enzo Tarnvanichkul timed it to perfection, saw the checkered flag and saw victory for the first time in his GB3 career, alongside Jack Sherwood and Abby Pulling on the podium. Our 10th different winner of 2025. So provisional race results then from the final race of the weekend. Tarnvanichkul taking victory. Jack Sherwood in 2nd position with Abby Pulling in 3rd. Those separated by 1 second, of course, courtesy of that safety car start across the line. Yamakoshi, then Darianani, Slater, Lee, Suuthan, Felucia and Johnson. The top 10 finishers. Keanu Alazari would be in 11th position with Ninovic in 12th. Then Lyle, Jax, Rodrigo Gonzalez, Patricio Gonzalez, who of course we saw off the road. Of course, Rodrigo Gonzalez being the final points paying position in 15th. Gianmarco Bradell, Deegan Fairclough was able to see the checkered flag, but unfortunately no points for them. Bustamante and Huizenroda, a retirement from the race. Also a retirement would be Will McIntyre after that extremely fast crash at the top end of the circuit. Well, with 2 weekends left to go in the championship before we go to Donington Park and Monza, let's take a look at those standings. It is a 71-point lead for Alex Ninovic. Yes, it might have been 12th position. Yes, it might have only been 3 or 4 points, but it's enough to build that gap to 71, as there was no point score for Patrick Huizenroda, none for Gianmarco Bradell, none for Deegan Fairclough, none for Will McIntyre either. So for all those behind, it meant it was perfect time to close up. Keanu Alazari was able to finish in 11th position, so does close up that gap a little bit back up to Will McIntyre after the retirement in the previous race. Reza Seaworthen as well, 7th position in the championship, 230 points, right in the fight for 4th position in the championship. Noah Lyle, Freddie Slater and Kai Darianani will round out the top 10. Let's head down to the paddock though for the final time this weekend. Catch up with Piers Pryor, who's having a chat to Nikita Johnson.
Thanks very much, Lewis, talking us through the results of that race and also all the weekend. We're going to grab some live reaction with Nikita Johnson, driver that was very unlucky in qualifying. Mechanical issues, saw you start from the back of every single race, but that one, right from the back, 10th place, not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I made a few moves, and then I got a few other moves done on the safety, or after the safety car when a few drivers made contact. So all in all, it was a pretty solid result.
Let's talk about some of those moves. I'm hearing from your dad, Obi, just behind the camera, that you made a tasty one around the outside of 2. Any other nice ones that you remember?
Yeah, I passed 2 off the start, and then 1 into turn 2 on the first lap. And then I passed one of the rodents in front of me, I'm not too sure, on the outside of 2. And then Keanu got pushed off, so I got him into turn 4. So that was pretty much it. And then, I think like 4 cars ran wide or ran off track later on in the lap. So it was a pretty solid lap after the restart. It was like probably 6 or 7 cars passed.
Yeah, not too bad at all, not too bad at all. Despite your bad luck, of course, you started at the back of the field. How would you sum up your performance in this weekend? The results, I know, are not what you expected because you didn't qualify, but what about your performance?
I think it was pretty solid in race 3. I mean, the other 2 races were a bit tough, but now with the reverse grid, everybody was a bit more hectic, and I could show that I know how to race, and that's a really strong suit of mine is racing. We have a lot of racecraft in the US, so yeah, I'm happy that I could go show that and go make a few spots up.
I suppose it's good for your development as well when you can show that you can pass on a circuit that's notoriously hard to pass at, and also just getting used to trying to pass on a circuit like that. It then potentially becomes easier when you go to a circuit where it's easy to overtake. I don't know.
Yes, exactly. It helps.
Yeah, amazing. Nikita Johnson, there you go for High Tech TGR. We'll see you back in the next one, I think, aren't you, joining us?
Yes.
Amazing. Great to have you back. Well, I'll let you go and cool off after a busy weekend. We're going to grab Hiyu Yamakoshi. Hiyu, because I'll get him in this side, please, mate. P4. Lovely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where my rust wrap is, but I think if I had a rust wrap, I think I could take the P3. But still, P4 is really nice to end my GB3 season 2025. It was a really nice experience for me, and yeah, this legendary truck is getting useful for me, and it's so fun to drive.
So you're not going to be joining us again this year?
Unfortunately, yes. I have a flag, 4 more rounds in flag, and which it's like butting in the crashing in the both races. So, but I hope I have a nice weekend in the flag as well. Also, I hope everyone had a nice race weekend, GB3 guys.
Well, thank you very much for wishing us a good time. You've been a great addition to the championship, and it's been a good weekend for yourself. I know we spoke after the last race. Tricky to come here, difficult circuit. You don't have much running, but you didn't show that with great pace this weekend. You must be happy with your performance.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm really happy. Getting every session, I'm faster and faster. So for me, I'm showing how I can run quickly. Also, I think I show them I'm not slow, at least.
Definitely not slow.
Thank you. I'm happy overall. Yes, I mean really, the rust up. I had no rust up. That's my mind always. But hopefully I have a chance to join this championship for the next time.
We'd love to have you. Hiyu Yamakoshi, thank you so much. 4th place in this race. I'll let you go and cool off, and we'll grab our final interview for this race weekend. Reza Seaworthen. Reza, you were right in the pack there, right in the busy part. We saw you fighting with Keanu Alazari and other drivers. Looked quite good fun out there.
Yeah, probably the most fun I've had in a GB3 race, and surprising to say it was around Brands Hatch GP. Yeah, some good overtakes and just a proper hack out there.
It looked like a hack, I must say. For those, explain a hack to those who might not know the slang.
Just where everyone's crashing into each other, just everyone's really going for it.
It doesn't always mean a crash, it just means that everyone's very much up for a race.
Yeah, everyone's definitely up for a race. And yeah, after that first safety car, everyone was just sending it, everyone was crashing into each other and stuff. So I was like, I'll pick up the pieces, make the overtakes and stuff, and yeah, came through, good points.
Another top 10 for yourself as well, which rounds off a pretty solid weekend of points for yourself. Well, of course, for race 1 didn't go ideal, but from then.
No,